Hello, I hope we are all surviving day 3 of homeschooling or just hanging out in your house. This is easy for me. But I wanted to talk about an activity that someone had sent me today that they're going to have their kids do on the schedule for homeschooling. And I sent this schedule, very generic, simple schedule out the other day, and someone from my schoolhouse rap group DM'd me their schedule that they put together and wanted to know if it looked okay. And the schedule was great. However, they had blocks of time where they wanted their kids to just read a book. And I love that they want their children to read books. However, not having any other activity to go along with that is not very engaging, and it kind of feels like, unless this child is already a very avid reader who just picks up a book to read for pleasure anyway, it kind of feels like a punishment, so to speak. And I don't think that there's really much learning or new information involved when you just tell a child to read a book. Even if you give them like comprehension questions afterwards, I think this activity that I'm going to explain is just a little bit more involved and more engaging. And I also think it helps make more connections versus just answering questions. I know answering questions at the end of a book kind of feels like, the whole AR component, and it tests comprehension, but I'm talking about being more engaged with the book and being able to make connections. Because if you're able to do that, if the child is able to do that, they're able to figure out what type of books that they like to read, and then they'll continue to pick up those types of books, and then the reading will grow. So that's just my opinion. But this activity is a metacognition activity where we get the students to think about their thinking. And I learned this activity from Dr. Linder, who has since passed away. But I learned so much from her, which is why I probably love teaching reading and writing. It's my favorite things to teach to kids. But metacognition, with this activity, it's called making a salad. So what you need some paper that will have the words text and thinking. And you'll also need a bowl to make your salad. So I'm going to link just this very simple text and thinking pages that you can print out. I had green and red paper, so I could print out my lettuce, my thinking on my green paper, and my text on my red paper. If you don't have that, it's no big deal. You can just print out the white copy like that. And see, very simple. And just have your kids color with the appropriate color. So your text would be red because this represents the pages in the book, and then your thinking would be green. This would be when you stop to reflect on the things that you just read or you saw in the story. So I have a book here under my hijab, and I'm just going to read the first page to show you how this kind of works. Okay, so the first page says, Grandma peeks into the oven as a brown loaf of bread starts to rise. Her hijab is carefully folded like the crust on my favorite pies. There's the illustration. You can see that for that one page of text. So in my salad, in my bowl here, I have my bowl. I'm going to put in one text. Now I kind of fold them in half because it just gives it a little bit more volume. Instead of keeping them flat, it doesn't matter if you fold them or not. So now what you do is you and your child will go through, and it's only 4 lines there. However, you have lots of illustrations. I mean, I'm using this with a picture book. So hopefully they'll learn this early on, so by the time they get ready to read chapter books, this is not an issue. But I noticed that there are some words that rhyme here. So I could ask my child, okay, do you see the rhyming words? Yep, I see rise, I see pie. So then they would take a thinking card and put that in the salad, put that in the bowl. What else do you notice? Well, let's see. I know this oven does not look like the oven I have at my house. So that's another observation. So you can put in another thinking. And that's all it is. You just go through what you just read, you look at the illustrations, you pull out the things you see in the illustrations, and that's your thing. You're just reflecting on what you are reading. You're thinking about what you just read, what you see. So by the time that you're finished with the book, you should have a pretty green salad. And this strategy will help. It's just a little bit more engaging than just saying read a book and then answer these 5 questions after you finish reading the book. It's easier to make connections this way. It's a great way actually to make connections. And again, then children will pick up on the themes from stories, lots of social, emotional learning going on, the character traits. They will pick that up, and then when they go to look for books to read for pleasure, they'll look for books that'll have that theme just because they were able to make the connections with the books they've read before that had a similar theme, if that makes sense. So, read a book is great, but just to make it a little bit more engaging, add the activity of metacognition and making a salad. I hope this helps, and we are going to make it. Stay faithful and stay healthy. I'll talk to you soon.